Alright, I'm just going to start recording, and in the comments on one of the last videos I made, someone left me a passage out of 2nd Esdras, and so I looked at it and I started reading it, and we're going to just read a little bit right now, starting right here. Tomorrow night you will remain here, and the Most High will show you in dream visions what the Most High will bring about for those who live on earth in the last days. So I slept that night, and the next, as he had told me. That was an angel talking to him after he had a vision, and he had it explained to him. On the second night, I had a dream. I saw an eagle with 12 feathered wings and 3 heads rising up from the sea. As I looked, it spread its wings over the whole earth, and all the winds of heaven blew toward it, and the clouds gathered around it. Out of its wings grew opposing wings. These became small, tiny wings. Its heads were at rest. The middle head was larger than the other heads, but it was also at rest with them. I kept looking and saw the eagle flying with its wings to rule over the earth and over those who lived on the earth. I saw how everything under the heaven was made to submit to it, and no one opposed it, not a single creature that lives on the earth. I looked and saw the eagle rise and its talons and call out to its wings, saying, "Don't all watch together. Let's each one sleep in its place and take turns watching. But the heads will be kept for the end." I looked and saw that the voice didn't come from its heads, but from the middle of its body. I counted its opposing wings, and there were 8 of them. A wing arose on the right side, and it ruled over the whole earth. And while it was ruling, it came to an end and disappeared, so that its place vanished. The next one rose up and ruled, and it held sway a long time. While it was exercising its rule, it came to its end, so that it disappeared like the previous one. Then a voice rang out, saying to this wing, "Listen, you who have held sway over the earth all this time, I announce this to you before you begin to disappear. No one after you will hold sway as long a time, not even half as long." A third wing raised itself up, and it also exercised rulership like the previous ones, and it too disappeared. And so it happened to each of the wings in turn, to come to power and then never to be seen again. I looked, and indeed the wings that followed on the right side also rose up in time, so that they too might rule. But some of them who came to power disappeared immediately, while others of them rose up but didn't succeed in establishing their rule. After all this, I looked again, and the 12 wings and 2 of the little wings had disappeared. Nothing remained on the body of the eagle except the 3 heads that were at rest and the 6 little wings. I looked and noticed that 2 of the 6 little wings were set apart and remained under the head on the right side, but 4 remained in their place. I watched as these little wings plotted to rise up and take power. One was raised up, but it immediately disappeared, and then a second, but this one disappeared more quickly than the previous one. I saw the 2 that were left plotting among themselves that they too should rule, and while they were making their plans, one of the heads had been at rest, and one in the middle woke up. This one was bigger than the other 2 heads. I saw how it formed a partnership with the other 2 heads, with 2 other heads. And then, and then how the head turned with those that were in it, and it ate the 2 little wings that had planned to rule. Moreover, this head gained power over the whole earth and dominated those who lived in it, inflicting great distress. It had greater power over the whole world than all the wings that had gone before. After this I watched as the middle head, just like the wings, suddenly disappeared. there were 2 heads left, however, which also ruled over the earth and over those who live on it. I looked and watched as the head on the right side devoured the one on the left. I heard a voice saying to me, "Look in front of you and consider what you see." I looked and saw something like a lion being roused, roaring out of the forest. I heard how he spoke in a human voice and said to the eagle, "Listen, you, and I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, aren't you the last of the 4 beasts that I made to rule in my world so that I might bring about the end of my times through them? You, the 4th that has come, conquered all the beasts that came before you, ruling over the world with much terror and over the whole world with harsh oppression. You have lived in the world with deceit for so long. You judged the earth, but not in truth, for you have oppressed the meek and injured those who caused no unrest. You hated those who spoke truth and loved liars. You destroyed the dwellings of those who bore fruit and tore down the walls of those who had done you no harm. Your insolence has ascended to the Most High, and your pride to the Mighty One. The Most High has reviewed his times. Look, they are finished, and his ages are complete. Therefore, eagle, you must utterly vanish. You and your terrifying wings, your dreadful little wings, and your evil heads, and your dreadful talons, and all your worthless body. Then the whole earth will be refreshed and restored, set free from your violence, and will hope for the judgment and mercy of him who made it. That was probably the end of... Oh wait, let's keep reading. While the lion was saying these words to the eagle, I looked and saw that the head that had prevailed disappeared, and the 2 wings that had gone over it rose up so that they might rule. But their rule was weak and chaotic. I watched as they disappeared, and the whole body of the eagle was burned. The earth was filled with fear. I woke up because my mind was racing, full of fear, and I said to myself, look, okay, I wanted to go show you something. Okay, in Daniel 7, the 4th beast, well, let's go back and review real quick. Okay, he says, aren't you the last of the 4 beasts that I made to rule in my world so that I might bring about the end of my times through them? You, the 4th that has come, conquered all the beasts that came before you, ruling over the world with much terror, over the whole world with harsh oppression. Okay, now we'll go to Daniel 7. After this, in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and had 10 horns. If you watch my videos at all, I believe that this beast, with its great iron teeth here, okay, it devours and break in pieces. They break in different stages. So this is the great iron teeth right here. As this, let's see here, as this rocket lands like this, these big grid fins up here steer it down as it comes down to land. That's the story anyway. Or if it doesn't land, it probably looks something like this maybe. I don't know. That might be something else though. That looks like something else. But there you go. So that's why I believe that. Let's watch what I said about it in October. Verse 6. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had on the back of it. I gotta fast forward. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Okay? I'm just going to go through that verse real quick, because, okay, this is Falcon 9. SpaceX Falcon 9 with Dragon for payload. I don't know if Daniel isn't necessarily talking about the Dragon payload. He's talking about the Falcon 9, and I'll explain why. First of all, strong exceedingly, because this rocket here has sent 11 now Dragon capsules up to the ISS successfully, they say. And the success of this rocket is next to none. It's something that the world hasn't had before, hasn't seen before. And it's had 10, well, put it this way, when I started understanding what these beasts were, it had 10 completed missions to the ISS. Now it has 11. But that's what it looks like, sort of. Now imagine this. Imagine this was an animal, and it was standing there like this, like it was like this, and it raised itself up on one side. Imagine that this is standing there, and let's see, what does it say? It devoured and break in pieces. This is first stage, second stage. It does break in pieces. And it stamps the residue with the feet of it. Can you imagine? I mean, Daniel didn't have rockets to, compare to, or to use the language of, whatever. Okay, and that's all we need to know. Okay, verse 8. Okay, so that's interesting to me. So I guess I have a new book to read. But anyway, thanks to that subscriber too. Let's see here. Let's go find him. He had an interesting name, so I can't really remember it. Let's see here. I don't even remember which video that was on. Let's see, oh, it was right here. Azariah Yehozadek Yehoseph. If I'm saying that all right. But yeah, he told me about this, and he actually gave me the link and everything. So thank you for doing that. That's interesting stuff.